All right, happy Monday and all that. Welcome to your Newsmax Daily for November the 3rd, 2025, the 307th day of the year, the 44th Monday, and National Sandwich Day, which means there are sandwich deals at all the big chains today. Great way to start the week. Congratulations to the LA Dodgers and their fans, as well as all of their bandwagon fans. The World Series couldn't possibly be any closer, with Game 7 going to extra innings after midnight on Saturday night. Back on Friday's Newsmax Daily, I said Toronto could close it out, but I thought the Dodgers would force a Game 7, and what a Game 7 it was, as the Dodgers win back-to-back World Series. And congratulations to Kyle Larson and the Hendricks Motorsports team winning the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series championship last night in Phoenix, the second NASCAR championship of Larson's career. And you would really only understand this if you watched the race yesterday, but how devastating for Denny Hamlin. President Trump returning to the White House from Palm Beach last night, telling reporters he's ordered the Pentagon to prepare for possible military action in Nigeria.
They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria, and they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
That comment on board Air Force One, which, by the way, I posted a couple of photos and a video of on my X account from Palm Beach yesterday. Check that out. But that comment and comments from his 60 Minutes interview is what's dominating the headlines this morning.
James Comey, John Bolton, Letitia James were all recently indicted. There's a pattern to these names. They're all public figures who have publicly denounced you. Is it political retribution?
You know what? You know who got indicted? The man you're looking at. I got indicted, and I was innocent. And here I am because I was able to beat all of the nonsense that was thrown at me. And yet, when you go after a dirty cop like Comey, or a guy like Bolton, who I hear I don't know anything about it. I hear he took records all over the place. Who knows? Letitia James is a terrible, dishonest person, in my opinion.
Did you instruct the Department of Justice to go after them?
Not in any way, shape, or form. No, you don't have to instruct them because they were so dirty, they were so crooked, they were so corrupt that the honest people we have, Pam Bondi's doing a very good job. Kash Patel's doing a very good job. The honest people that we have go after them automatically.
That interview started with Norah O'Donnell doing sort of a disclaimer, I guess, that it was exactly 1 year to the day since President Trump sued Paramount, the parent company of CBS, for deceptively editing an interview with his then opponent, Kamala Harris, and that CBS settled the suit but did not admit to any wrongdoing. Remember, they paid $16 million. This weekend also wrapped up early voting in Virginia and New Jersey, where voters will go to the polls tomorrow to elect a new governor. Former President Obama campaigning for both Democratic candidates yesterday. President Trump will be doing tele-rallies for both Republican candidates today. Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey and Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears in Virginia, both of whom appeared on Newsmax this weekend, beginning with Lydia Serrani.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be with you, and we're going to do this come this Tuesday.
You are such an inspiration. You really are. You're an immigrant from Jamaica. You were raised in my hometown of the Bronx. You became an American citizen while serving as a Marine. Can you tell I'm from the Bronx? I know you got that Bronx in you as well still. Now, some Democrats, they say that the American dream is dead. And that's why I wanted to call this segment with you the American dream, because you are the perfect example of the American dream being alive and doing very, very well.
Yeah, the Democrats would like you to believe that the American dream is dead, because then they get to swoop in on their horse, riding in to save us. And we don't need that. We need them to get out of our way as Black people. I mean, who died and left these Black Democrats in charge? And by the way, all Democrats, in fact, we just want to be left alone so that we can accomplish. And, when you're looking at someone whose father came to America with only $1.75, and then he came and got me. And now here I am, second in command in the former capital of the Confederate States. That tells you America is a great country, And I didn't do anything special to get here except stay in school and study.
You give me goosebumps. You really do, especially for women out there. You built a life rooted in faith and service and family. You're the first black woman lieutenant governor. Yet many prominent black leaders, actors, they've been critical of you. They've not endorsed you. They don't praise your achievements because you're a Republican. You got Obama. He's campaigning for your opponent. What do you think about that double standard and that kind of hate that you get, the animosity from the black community simply because you're a Republican?
You know, if it weren't for double standards, they would have no standards at all. And yet I'm the one who is able to say to the children, look, I am here. You can do this. I'm not even from this great country. And that means if I can do it, you can do it. And you can do even more. You can actually be president. I can never be president. Can't even be in the line of succession. And so if there are people who like to continue to fight the Civil War, that's what they're doing. They keep those old wounds alive. They keep picking at the scab and they never let it heal, because if they can say, look, you see what these awful people are doing to you? We will never have anything unless I am elected. And you need me to continue to save you and to vouch for you. Then, you know, we get what we get, unfortunately. And that's what they're afraid of with my win, which we're going to win. You know, they can't say Republicans hate immigrants, which we know that's not true, because here I am. I was nominated by the Republican Party, the party of Lincoln, and not the Democrats. But of course, I had to win my own race. And that meant I had to convince everyone to, you know, consider voting for me as lieutenant governor.
The very people that the Democrats claim to protect with their policies are the ones that are actually hurt the most by their policies. We see that across the nation. Why do you think that is? And what do you think it'll take for more black Americans to wake up and realize that they're being played? They're being played by the Democrat Party.
Yeah. I think enough of them realize it now. And frankly, there were enough that realized it when I first ran for office in 2001. And I won that seat. I won for the House, our House of Delegates, in a 58% black, 62% Democratic district. And I ran as a Republican. I only had 3 months to run. But I believe, you know, I'm a woman of faith, and we pray and you know, we believe that God's will be done. So we convinced enough people then, and we're going to do it again. I left politics 20 years ago, and I'm back again. We're going to do this. We're going to do this really for common sense ideas, which is, you know, it's not race specific. It's not gender specific. It's simply this, that if you want to keep more of your money in your own pocket, we're going to keep your taxes low. My opponent, Abigail Spanberger, is going to raise them. If you want to be safe, elect me, because my opponent, she voted for open borders. Fentanyl came across the border, child trafficking and all of that. She wants to have a sanctuary state here. She's soft on crime. You know, none of that works, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. And then, of course, we're creating all these jobs. I mean, we just had a company, we announced $5 billion coming to Virginia. But they're not going to come if we don't maintain the right to work, which means that you're not forced to join a union if you don't want to. It's about freedom, and it's not about the next 4 years, frankly. It's about the future of our children and our children's children. That's what it's about.
That's Virginia Republican gubernatorial candidate and Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears, a native Jamaican and former U.S. Marine running on common sense. Tom Basile, host of America Right Now on Saturday mornings, spoke with the New Jersey Republican gubernatorial candidate Jack Ciattarelli.
We are in the home stretch of two hotly contested gubernatorial campaigns this year, one in the state of Virginia and the other in New Jersey, where businessman Jack Ciattarelli, who narrowly lost 4 years ago, is going for the governor's mansion again, up against Democrat Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. The Garden State providing one of the biggest tests for both parties since the 2024 presidential election. Republicans haven't won the governorship there since 2009, but now the race is neck and neck, and Jack Ciattarelli joins me now on this very busy final weekend of campaigning. Mr. Ciattarelli, great to see you. I was there 4 years ago in the ballroom in New Jersey on election night with you, and boy, was it close, and that room was absolutely electric, closer than anybody thought that it would be. You outperformed President Trump at the time, even in the New York City suburbs. Talk to us about how how different this race is from the last one in terms of the issues and the dynamics of the campaign.
Tom, the energy this time around is electric all around the state. The reception of minority communities has been overwhelmingly positive. And I just picked up this morning another prominent Democrat who's endorsed my candidacy. And when Democrats start endorsing the Republican, it tells you how badly people want change. But you know what's different this time around, Tom, is I'm not competing with a pandemic. Back at 21, it wasn't easy running for governor when there's a shelter-in-place order. I was going up against an incumbent. My opponent is no incumbent. And there's just a lot less indifference. Because of the closeness of my race in 21, people now know inside New Jersey and all around the country, we can win this thing. I'm telling you, we're in position. I feel really confident about delivering a win for New Jersey Tuesday night.
Mr. Ciattarelli, Donald Trump lost New Jersey by less than 6 points last November. That shocked a lot of folks. And as you know, he's making fighting illegal immigration and violent crime two very big components of his agenda. New Jersey is home to Newark, Camden, and Trenton, all cities that have dealt with immigration and crime problems for decades. Is that an issue that may be the thing that turns a blue state more red this year?
Absolutely. The president secured the border. My job is to secure our state. And I'll do that by getting rid of, by executive order on day one, no town in our state will be a sanctuary city. We will not be a sanctuary state. That's how I keep the state safe. The way to keep our neighborhoods safe is by reforming bail reform. Cashless bail has failed New Jersey. It's created a professional criminal who's learned how to game the system. Talk to your local cops about arrest, release, repeat. It's real, and it's demoralizing for cops. So no sanctuary cities, no sanctuary state, and let's get rid of cashless bail. That's how we keep New Jersey safe.
I think that may be a sign of how the opposite side feels about their campaign. President Obama is going to be campaigning with your opponent in these waning days. I have to ask you about the folks across the river from you. Is it possible that a socialist, radical Islamist, anti-Semite who may become the mayor of the city of New York, a lot of folks there in the suburbs, right outside New York City, in New Jersey, very nervous about this. Do you think that there is a Mondami effect that could impact your race as well?
I really don't. New Jersey is not New York City. You mentioned how much of our population lives here in the suburbs. And so I'm hoping he doesn't win. But if he does, I'm going to stand up for New Jerseyans every single day of the week, including the 400,000 that go into Manhattan every day to work. Just because they leave our borders doesn't mean I'm not responsible for their safety.
New Jersey businessman and Republican gubernatorial candidate Jack Ciattarelli on Newsmax with Tom Basili. His comments there on the New York mayoral race takes us to Saturday night's edition of The Wise Guys with John Tabacco, who spoke with his fellow New Yorkers about the race.
Hey, what's up, America? It's your favorite paisan, Johnny T. Yeah. Another episode of Wise Guys. Now, you know, every single week we hit the streets because we want to put your views on the news, and we go where the cool kids are at. And this week, all the cool kids are out in full force in the metropolitan area. Here in New York City, we have a massive mayoral race going on. Zohran Mamdani, the Democrat Socialist of America candidate, is in the lead right now. Andrew Cuomo, former senior killing governor of New York State, he's right behind him now. And Curtis Sliwa, the Republican candidate, is pulling up the rear. But there are things happening in New York that could change the outcome. Many have said that Zohran Mamdani's donors, he's been accused of having some illegal donors from out of the country. I know the New York City Campaign Finance Board is looking at that. Andrew Cuomo seems to have gotten a little more pep as more and more Republicans are saying, hey, we love Curtis. Curtis is our guy. He'd be a great mayor. He loves New York City. But the math doesn't look like it's mathing, and many of the Republicans are now considering going for Andrew Cuomo. It sure seems like New Yorkers are coming around to the idea of voting for the devil they know, Andrew Cuomo, over the devil they don't know. Nico and I hit the streets of New York City to ask people, is New York City in danger of being turned over to the Democrat Socialists of America?
What do you think about the candidates so far?
I'm voting for Cuomo.
Why are you voting for Cuomo?
A little scared about that guy Mamdani. You know, his socialist beliefs, his communist beliefs, and, he might be a sheep in wolf's clothing. Who knows?
Communism, socialism, Republican, and I vote for Cuomo.
Mamdani is the only really true answer, even though they're trying to paint him as a socialist and a communist. Cuomo is from the past. Mm-hmm. He's shot.
Yep.
He is not someone who can lead this city with his history.
Do you feel like you're voting for him because he's the lesser of two evils, or if you had the option to vote for Curtis Lewa, you'd vote for Curtis?
Curtis isn't going to win.
Right.
I think it's like all hands on deck to stop Mamdani. Yeah. Cuomo's the only option.
Curtis Lewa is totally out of the question.
I'm trying to vote for the guy who could win. That's right now where I am. You know what I mean? I like Curtis. I voted for him last time. But right now it's so close. You know what I mean? You know you don't want. So you're voting for somebody who could get in. I never thought I'd be rooting for Cuomo, to tell you the truth. But here I am.
Not too big of a fan of Republicans, but I love Curtis Lewa. Okay. Really cool guy. I like the Guardian Angels and what they're about, like community, like helping community. Yeah. If it was between only him and Cuomo, I would 100% vote for Curtis Lewa any day.
Oh, this is so frustrating. You see, that's what I've been talking about right there. That's what I'm saying. Curtis Lewa, Republican or not, the Guardian Angels, etc. But unfortunately, this is where it's at.
I'm a math guy. I'm looking at the numbers. It doesn't look like there's any mathematical path to victory for Curtis. And I feel like Cuomo, as bad as he is, I want to hold my nose and vote for the devil I know rather than the devil we don't know.
That's exactly what we've been saying in the office. It's who you know. Can they get the job done better? I mean, the other guy, he's 32 years old. He wants to run the most complex city in the country. How does that happen there?
It sure seems like his team and his handlers and his fundraisers are doing a great job, but I don't think he's the best guy for New York City. What do you think?
He's not. He's definitely not.
In a melting pot of 8.5 million people, you are going to get a lot of different views and opinions, obviously. Unfortunately, as John Tabacco said, it's going to be the devil they already know or the devil that they do not yet know. It is simply ludicrous to think that many Democrats and Republicans would be celebrating a default win by former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who again resigned from office amid a slew of controversy and lawsuits. I mean, he went from the Democrats' penthouse to the Democrats' outhouse, right? And now he may be revered again if he gets back in office, and revered by Republicans. It's nuts. All right, let's go back to Tom Basile, who also spoke with Dr. Oz about the cost of prescription drugs.
It's called TrumpRx, and it's part of a strategy of direct negotiation with the world's largest drug companies to lower prescription drug prices for Americans. Some big moves being made with Pfizer, Amgen, and AstraZeneca. But how does it work? And how will it benefit the average American who pays higher drug prices than virtually anyone anywhere else in the world? Let's ask cardiothoracic surgeon, multi-Emmy award-winning television host, and now the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, joins us here on the program. Good to see you, Doctor. Thank you very much for making time for us. A lot of folks are excited at the prospect of this, but there's also a lot of confusion about how it's going to work and how it's going to benefit those who rely on medications. So tell us what these deals mean and who they will benefit.
So it's called most favored nation drug pricing because, as the president argues, that's what we ought to be able to get. We are responsible for most of the investments in innovation. We want to save lives with people who have cancer or autoimmune problems or Alzheimer's. So we've got to make the right investment. The question is, how much do people pay for it? So if we're already paying most of the bill for actually inventing these products, why are we paying 3 times more on average than any other developed country for the same product made in the same factory in the same bottle? It doesn't make any sense. And for understandable reasons, the president's been very upset about this, has generated lots of calls to me, Secretary Kennedy, and has the entire team laser focused on this fundamental reality that we have got to get pricing of our drugs to be the same as other countries. To do that, as the president argues, you need to raise the prices for these products in other countries a little bit so we can drop them in our country. You also have to have the ability to negotiate using whatever tools we have available. We've got quite a few to get the drug companies to acknowledge, and in a quiet moment they do, that this is not fair. for the United States citizens to pay so much more than those in other countries. So we've gotten the success with the leading U.S. company, Pfizer. You just saw the AstraZeneca, which is a leading British company based in Europe. We have a major advantage now in fertility drugs, which are a big part of the cost for young families trying to have children. We have many more coming down the line from the biggest companies. But the whole argument that the president made is let me negotiate. Forget about throwing money at problems. Let me just fix the root problem of healthcare in America by dropping the actual money that we have to spend for healthcare.
Now, it sounds very logical. It sounds really good. There's going to be a website, this TrumpRx.gov website. Talk to us about the mechanics of how people actually benefit from these lower prices.
So TrumpRx is a website that will allow you to get access to any drug you want to be on to find out where it can be sold most advantageously for you. So we're not going to actually sell you the drug. We're going to connect you directly to the manufacturer's website. It might be a pharmacy benefit management company. It could be a GoodRx or Cost Plus type of site. It could be directly to a drugstore in your neighborhood. And we actually want to support drugstores. And you're seeing now the entire business get the shift. On Monday, Tom, there was a big announcement from a major Cigna, a major U.S. pharmacy benefits management company, a middleman company. The companies, they always get maligned. This is one of the leaders. And they said, we're done. We're not playing the games of rebates and, these secretive payments behind closed doors. We're going to be very transparent. But here's the catch. Turns out a lot of U.S. companies don't mind this backdoor dealing. Why? Because they get paid rebates that they can use for other purposes. So from now on, this company, and others will follow it, are going to be able to use TrumpRx and other sites to purely transparently tell you exactly the best place to get your drugs. If you give people transparency, they will shop more effectively, right? We buy everything else with knowledge of what it costs. Why would it not be the same with drugs?
Dr. Oz, administrator for the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services on Newsmax with Tom Basile. Again, President Trump is back at the White House and is participating in tele-rallies for the two Republican gubernatorial candidates today. It's day 34, I believe, of the government shutdown. The Trump administration has a deadline of today to tell a federal judge if it will comply with court orders to continue funding SNAP, which missed its November 1st payout, affecting some 40 million Americans. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessant said this morning that SNAP benefits could restart by Wednesday. And USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins said in a weekend interview that SNAP will be drastically reformed after thousands of illegals are removed from the program once, this is all ironed out. And delays continue mounting at airports across the country. This is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
If the government doesn't open in the next week or two, we'll look back as these were the good days, not the bad days. It's only going to get worse.
So things could get worse before it gets better. And it can only get better in Jamaica, where the death toll from Hurricane Melissa has topped 60 people now between Jamaica and Haiti. On Wall Street, stocks opened the new week mix. The Dow down a bit, the Nasdaq up a bit. Shares of Nvidia trading up after the U.S. approved sales of its chips to the United Arab Emirates. And Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway reported a 34% jump in earnings this morning. More than 120 S&P companies will be reporting earnings this week. So it's going to be another very busy week on Wall Street. If you get a random email or text message today about a sandwich deal, for National Sandwich Day, be very careful. Every day it seems like there's a new way for cyber criminals to trick us. From those text scams to data breaches to fake emails, it's hard to keep up, right? That's why you need WebRoot Total Protection Package. From lightning fast antivirus to identity theft protection with dark web monitoring, secure VPN. You got to have VPN now, and unlimited cloud backup. You got to have that as well. WebRoot Total Protection helps defend every part of your digital life, and let's face it, all of our lives are completely digital now. And with up to $100 million in fraud expense reimbursement, 24/7 U.S.-based customer support, and new text scam detection, you're backed by powerful protection that is built for all of today's threats. Become cyber secure with 60% off WebRoot Total Protection at webroot.com/Newsmax. That's 60% off for a limited time only when you go to webroot.com/Newsmax. Do not wait. Get WebRoot Total Protection today if you haven't already done so. webroot.com/Newsmax. And don't forget, the news starts each and every morning, 6 o'clock Eastern, with Alex Kramer on Wake Up America Early Edition, followed by Wake Up America National Report, Newsline at noon, straight through Carl Higbee and Frontline at 6, Rob Schmidt tonight, Finnerty, Greg Kelly, and so much more. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Newsmax Daily Podcast. Continue to share it with friends, family, co-workers, and anybody, really. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.